Hello folks, how you doing? I'm out here in the woods and I'm working on the Saxon house, the window for the Saxon house in the background there. I'm here with my dog Jax, and the aim of this little project is to try and build this window with no nails at all. So it's kind of your traditional wood pegs and little wedges on top of them, both sides, to kind of cinch it all in. And the frame I've got so far, I'm just working on the bottom end of the frame, but this is essentially what it's going to look like. It's burnt wood. That's for two reasons: a bit of aesthetic, so because it looks cool, but also because I want to, of course there's a plane. Come on over. Runway's just here, mate. Come land there. Hello, mate. I know, it's another bloody plane, isn't it? Are we ever going to get this intro done? Hey? We'll get there. I think I was here. So, this is the window so far. You can see I've charred the wood, and yeah, that's for two reasons. One, because it helps to prevent rot, stops the bugs getting in there, makes it a bit more durable, and two, because it looks cool. It's kind of got that rustic sort of medieval look to it, which I quite like. Took some time. This is all made of pine, which is not ideal really, but it's what I've got an abundance of in this woodland. And so yeah, I used an axe. I hewed the logs down into flat pieces as best I could, and then I charred them, and you wouldn't believe how long this has taken, just this small project. This is now day 2 of doing this. Last time I was only doing an afternoon, to be fair, but it takes so long. Jax, don't you do that. You're trying to climb up the Viking house roof. In fact, he is climbing up the Viking house roof. Oh yeah, make yourself at home. Yeah, I see you. Think you're funny? You think you're funny? What are you? No. Don't dig. No. Don't dig. Jax! Get off. Off. Get off. Hey, look, there's a mouse. Here, there's a mouse. In there. I saw it. Good boy. Dig it. Dig the mouse. Anyway, I'm using my 1/2 auger bit. And this is, yeah, pine, like I say. They're the wood pegs. They've been wedged in with a small wedge and then cut off pretty much flush. That's all the top end that's done. I'm now working on the bottom end, and what I'm doing is just using sticks to align each hole. Jax, I'm talking. Thank you. I'm using sticks to align each hole, because otherwise once this auger bit kind of goes through, it can twist this piece of wood and it won't be level. So these sticks are just helping it all level, and I'm going through there. Once I mark into this piece of wood, I can just lift these out like that and work on augering all the way through there. This one's tricky because it's like a padding. It's a little bit of a filler piece of wood, but if you look, there's not much space each side of that auger bit, which means that it's going to be a weak point in the window and it could break. It worked up there just, but you can see a little split, but it just worked. So I've got to be real careful of this piece here. But other than that, that's going to go over here, and I've got to figure out a way. I've got it in my head, but I've just got to plan it a bit better, of putting some little wood hinges in and some dowels, and hopefully it will sit on those. Whether I get that done today, I don't know, but check out the chinking that I did. That did really well. It's absolutely solid. I'm really impressed with that. Now, I didn't wash down the tops of the logs, which I should have done, because it's obviously left it a bit muddy looking, but I'm really pleased with that. And the thatch is still going strong. It hasn't budged. Honestly, it hasn't budged in over a year. It hasn't slipped. There's still a nice thick layer under here. Look at that lovely thick layer. You can still adjust it and push it. In fact, I can't even push that up, but yeah, I'm really pleased with the thatch on the house. I'm not pleased with the door as such. It's not authentic. I am gonna take it down, and there's going to be a new door coming at some point, and I'm also going to cover these gable ends a bit. I didn't leave the gable ends overhanging, So if you imagine an overhang like that, I should have left an overhang probably out to the door, so we could have sat under and had a nice porch. But in hindsight, that would have been great. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. But I didn't do that, so there's still drafts and air coming in there, so I'm going to work out on putting some board up or something for that. The Viking house is all in one piece. Jats, can you get off? Come on, man. Please. Please. Come on. You know, be nice, be good for the subscribers. Please. You're a good boy. You can show them you're good. Still got the first overnighter to do in this shelter, which hopefully will come up in the next month or so. I've been mad busy doing stuff, but I'm really looking forward to spending the first night in here. Especially now Jats has just dug up loads of the roof and there's holes everywhere, so it's going to be really interesting. This is what I have to put up with all day. That little thing there. Looks nice and cute, and generally is, until I turn off the camera. So, forecast today, we're already 1:10 in the afternoon, and the forecast today is not looking good. In about an hour's time, not even that, it's meant to be now actually, but I reckon it's going to come in an hour. We have a really bad rainstorm coming, and it's going to last all the way, probably about another 6 hours through to the night, so it'll be me done for the day. Which would suck, because I really want to be able to get this window up for you guys in one episode. But beggars can't be choosers, and it might not happen, so I really hope it does. But if it doesn't, I apologise, and I'll get it to you guys in the next one. A lot of you have been asking about the bunker and the bunker series. That will be continuing really soon. I've actually just got a load of stuff for it, so there's a few more bits I need to wait for. He's on the top of the roof. So yeah, a few more bits I need to wait for, and then we can crack on with that series, because I know a lot of you have been really patient, so thank you for that. Yeah, stay up to date on my Instagram and I can let you know when the bunker series will be continuing. But for now, I just want to get this window up. Oh, okay. This is the bit I really don't want to split. Thanks for joining me anyway, guys. I hope you enjoy it. So I managed to avoid the weather, and we're on to the last peg here, which I'm going to wedge in that side and wedge in on the underneath. It didn't split too well, it split a bit, but not too badly actually. But because it's not load bearing, it doesn't matter too much. So these are the little wedges I make. You know, essentially what it's doing is I use my knife like this, and I just batten it into the gap, usually with a bit of wood, not my hand, just to split it level. And you don't want to go any deeper obviously, but just level with the curve of the wood here. And then essentially what this wedge is going to do, here is it's going to go in the gap, it's going to keep going in as I force it down, and it's going to force these two sides out. And what that's going to do is then pinch this peg solid, absolutely solid. It's not going to be able to slide in or out this peg because the wood is constantly forced that way. So that's the idea of wedging the pegs that you make. And for example, I'll show you, it doesn't matter if this splits kind of high up, as long as this section here actually gets into the wood a few millimeters, then that should be fine. But ideally a centimetre or two would be nice. So just gently tap it, and I'm holding my fingers there just to keep it all straight, but if you watch it, it'll go down. I'm only tapping lightly. If I wallop it, then this is a really fragile, this thin piece, and it would just fold over like that. So the more I lightly tap it and get it to go down, then the more power and strength is up here in the wider piece of wood. So kind of letting it work for me. Still going to keep my fingers there just to guide it a bit. Okay, we're in. That's probably as much as I need to go, to be honest. I can barely move the peg. If you find that you can wobble this peg afterwards, I've found personally that you're sort of not deep enough, or you've not made it wider at the top. So, I mean, that's solid. Look, I can't wobble that. So now I get the saw and I cut it off. You don't have to cut it off flush. You can cut it off kind of up here, which will allow you to, if the peg does move, you can knock the peg back in, or you can cut through the wedge and put another wedge in. So, you know, have that in mind if you wanted to do something like this. you could just leave the peg a little bit taller actually, put the wedge in and just cut it flush with the peg, and that way you can hit the peg in more if you need to, or you can re-split the peg and put another wedge in later down the line. But I'm going to cut these flush because, like I say, they're not sort of load bearing, they're just keeping these pieces of wood in there. So this is not the ideal saw because it's got aggressive teeth, but it does the job and it seems to cut them pretty flush. So off comes the wedge, and that's now flush. You can't really see it on the camera, but the wedge is obviously now well in there. So for the wedges, all I'm doing is all these chippings, which I had earlier when I was hewing these pieces of wood. Some of these are pretty solid. They're a little bit damp at the moment with the rain, which isn't ideal, but I've selected some dry ones, but some of these are quite solid, where the axe has taken off a fair chunk of wood. And it's already saved me so much time being able to just process these down a little bit thinner like that, and then just use the knife to finely tune them. And it just saves me having to do it and split a stick down from a round. The chippings are already here, so these are ideal wedges. So for example, this wedge here, I'm going to process down. It looks quite long, and it is, but I'm going to process this exact piece down with my knife, just taking off small shavings each time, and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. And there we go. That is my thin wood wedge, ready to go in the peg. Boy. Good boy. So the final peg. Just make sure everything's solid that I'm hitting against. Now this wedge is quite thin, and I can feel that peg, the gap's too thin, so I'm just going to open it up a bit without breaking it, of course. There we go. There we go. So it's good to test it goes in the gap first with your fingers, and here it goes. This one is dangerously thin, so I feel it might snap. So I'm going to keep my fingers there till the last moment. Check the peg, check the wedge, sorry, I can wobble it, it's not going anywhere. Ready to saw. Ta-da! First part of the window done. Things like that can be used for wedges. I just split some off there, and that's perfect. Nice and thin for little pins for the wedges. So pine, when you split it, often twists and warps like that. It's a really twisty grain. Now that's not going to be good when it's sat against the window and I want it to be flush. So you could hew away with your axe. You know, I could do that and it would take time and it would be quite hard to get level. But what I tend to find with splitting pine and trying to get it, you know, if I want to use this as a piece of fascia wood and I need it to be flush, you can see that twist there. Hopefully you guys can see that, but it's pretty damn twisty. There, if I hold it flat like that, you can kind of see that twist up this end there. So what I'm going to do is batten that off. So you just line it up and you aim. You can see when you're looking vertically down it like this, you can see exactly where the twist is. So there is the twist in the grain. That's where it kind of twisted off, where it split. So now when I'm battening, this is my view from above, this is what you guys don't see when I'm battening, but I can see that I need to take off this chunk here. So I can just line my knife up like that, batten down through it, and it should come down the log like this, and basically take off that chunk to leave it nice and flush. Let's see if it will do it. Gently get it tapped in. Not going to be perfectly flush, but it will be better than what it was. And then keep that, look, good Wedgwood. Westwood, who remembers that guy? Westwood. A little bit here that's raised. And take that off. again, loads of wood there, dry wood for making a wedge. I have, if you look, pretty much a flush piece of wood that's not so twisty. It's much more level, and that's going to sit nicely on a flat surface. Well, it finally arrived. The rain is here. It looks like it's going to be here to stay, which sucks, doesn't it, buddy? Yeah, we're in the dry. We're in the overhang of the Viking house here. That gap in the roof there, by the way, is where Jack's ripped off all the moss. So, yeah, that's probably where the bed is, actually, just under there. But I'm keeping dry under this this gable end. It's annoying. I'm so close to finishing the actual window itself. I'm going to try and finish it inside here, but the lighting's pretty poor, so it's going to be off camera probably. But yeah, it's just, this is it for the day now, which sucks. But we'll crack on and get this done for you guys so you can see the finished product. Well, that is probably as much as I can do today. I've tried to battle with the rain, and it's not easy with the dog as well, trying to keep him dry. But this is the finished window. It's not obviously got the hinges and stuff yet. I've got to make those, but that is from, I'd say, 3 or 4 feet, maybe 5 feet's worth of pine. Well, yeah, because that's a big pine bit split. Big pine, maybe, yeah, 6 foot piece of pine made into this. I've charred the wood, which is an ancient Japanese technique called Shou Sugi Ban, and that yeah, it just helps to preserve the wood, prevents the bugs from getting under that bark and rotting it out. However, I have left the bark on this, but because it's only thin, the wood there, and it's split, I don't think the bugs are going to be too interested because there's not much room for them to burrow under. Plus, this piece of wood is going to be used a fair amount opening and closing. That's the other side, a little bit battered up, but you can see all the pegs in there, and you can see the wood pegs. I've added some side panels in here, and I need to put some diagonal supports probably at the back there, but this is pretty much as far as I've got. So my Saxon window shutter, it's not actually the window really, is it? It's the kind of, it's almost a shutter really. But yeah, that's just going to be the cover for the window. I'm pleased with it. I thought it came out okay. It's very time consuming, for those wondering. Very time consuming. This took most of today and most of the other day when I came to do it. So that's what it's like using no nails really. It's time consuming, can be done, and I'm looking forward to having a go at the hinges with no nails. That should be quite fun. And yeah, down the line we'll change the door. Thank you so much to everyone who watched this episode, and if you're still tuning in, I do appreciate it. And if you enjoy the videos, hit the subscribe button, and maybe tell some friends. Hit the like button, I guess, that's generally what people say. But for me, it's just good to have you guys along the adventure, so I appreciate that. And hopefully I'll catch you soon in the next episode. Cheers, guys.